Hello and welcome back to what is part 5 of how to create an endless runner using Unity and C#. Today we're just going to be doing a little bit more of what we did in the last video. So we're just going to be covering a little bit more of the UI. We're going to be adding a main menu and a few other things depending on how much time we have. So let's get started. Our menu is basically going to be the same as this panel. So we just want to copy it with Control D and rename it to menu. And then we just want to change a few of the things inside the menu. To begin with, we want to change the color of our plane, and we want to change the transparency just so you can't see the game at all when you're in the menu. And as you can see, there's a little border at the moment. That's because we're using the background as the background image as our source image. If we just change that to no image, then it's just going to make it whatever color we've chosen to the bounds of our box. And then that will make it take up the whole screen. So now that we have that, we want to come down to our bits of text and we'll just move them up a bit and make room for our buttons, and then we'll come in and start renaming them. So this is going to be the title of your game. Oops. And I'm just going to call the game The Game. And then once you have that, come down to restart. This is going to become your high score. Whoops, that would do. And down here we just want to write high score 000, and then we'll just reposition that text a little bit. That's a little bit off as well, so we'll grab both of them, move them over. Come down to this one. We'll just set their colors. Like a light blue for that, a really light blue, and I'm going to do a darker blue for this one. Now that looks really bad, but I need to change the color of this. That would do. So now that we have them, we want to add our buttons. So to add our buttons, we go Create, UI, Button, and then we'll just drag the button into the menu, and rename this one to Play. And then if we click on the arrow, we can get down to its text, which will also change to Play. And then we just want to come and copy that, rename this one to Quit, and rename its text to Quit. Cool. And then we'll just resize them. We want to resize them up here, not with the scale, because if we do it with the scale, we'll also resize the text and it will go all blurry. So we just want to come up here and change the height, and then we'll come and reposition our buttons. So that's one. That's 2. And then if we come down to our text, we can change it over to our font and then just resize it. Cool. So now that we have some buttons, we can press play and can see what the buttons do. At the moment they're not really going to do anything. We don't have any scripts to tell them what to do, but if we click them, we'll see that they are working buttons. And we saw that the game was still moving when we press play. We'll also fix up that with the script. So I guess we should start with the script. So if we come down to our scripts and right click, create, C# script, and just call it UI controller. And then we can just open that up and get the scripting. So to begin with, because this is all handling UI again, we're going to need to have our Unity engine.ui, and then yeah, we're pretty good to start scripting. I'm just going to move around some of these brackets and then we'll start. Okay, so we just want to begin by adding some variables. So to begin with, we're going to need a public game object, which is going to be our main menu. and that's just going to store our main menu panel so that we can turn it on and off like we were doing with the desk screen. And then we're going to need to add some new voids. These are going to have to be public voids because again we're going to need to access them from outside of the script. So we're going to need a void. You can call these anything, but I'm going to call them clicked start. And another one will be a public void clicked quit. Okay, so now we have both of them. We'll start with the quit one, that's a simple one. Just like we used application.loadLevel, we're going to use application.quit, which will just literally quit the level and quit the game, so that if you are running it outside of the editor and you click quit, it will just go to your desktop. So now that we have that, we'll come to click start, and in here we just want to turn off our main menu. So like we used before, main menu dot set active false, and whoops, we also are going to want to have the same call up here, but setting it to true, just so that when we reload our level, the main menu will be there. And then we'll come back down to our click start, and down here we will, well first we'll go back up to our start, and as you noticed before, the level was still moving when we're in the menu. We don't want that to happen, so we're just going to change time scale to 0 again, like we do when we die, and that way nothing will be moving. And then we'll just copy that, and when we click start, we want to make it equal 1 again. Cool, so now that we have that, we can go back to our game and let's see how our menu's going. First we're going to have to make it so the buttons are actually aligned to the script, because if we go and click play at the moment, it's just going to do the same thing as before. So if we come to our buttons, and down here at the bottom you have onClick, so we just want to add a new onClick, and it's going to be in runtime, and then we need to set up a game object that will have our script on it to reference in here. So we'll just add a empty game object, and we'll just call this UI controller, like our script, and we'll set an icon so that it's visible in the scene. If Unity lets me move it, we'll move it. Don't tell me Unity is crashed, that would be unfortunate. Very unfortunate. And there would be no reason for it. Okay, so it looks like Unity's crashed, so give me 1 second and I'll be back with you. Okay, so I'm not really sure what was up with that. It wasn't a crash. I clicked off it and clicked back on it and it was fine. So yeah, that was really weird. I've never experienced that before. But so we'll come back down to this and we'll just add our script, a new script. We want to add this script. And then for the main menu, we just need to drag in our menu. So now we can come back to our play button, and down here we can go to our UI controller, which is all the way down the bottom, and then in the functions go to UI controller and just hit click start. So now whenever we hit click start, it is just going to run whatever is inside of this function, which is to turn off the menu and to make the gameplay. So we'll do the same for the quit, but set it to click to quit. Function, controller, quit. Okay, so now if we press play, the quit function won't work because we're still in the Unity editor, but we can build the game quickly and show you what it'd be like out of it. We also need to set this up so it would scale nicely, but that's fine for now. So if we press play, the game plays. Cool. So, and then if we die, and press space, we go back to the menu. If we hit quit, nothing happens because, like I said, that doesn't work if you're in editor. So now that we have that, all that going, let's just go and set up a build. So if we come down to our build settings, and then click on player settings in the PC option, PC, Mac and Linux, we'll have to change a few things in the resolution. So we don't want full screen, we want it to be 568 by 320, which works well for an iPhone 5. Your project might be different, what you want as your default, but that's what I'm going to have as mine, and we can have scripts later on to adjust that depending on the device that we're running on. But so now that we have that, if you have resizable window on, you just want to turn that off, come down to supported aspect ratios, and turn off all but other, and full screen only. And all those settings look pretty good to me, so let's just see how this builds. We'll just go build. Actually, no, we'll go build and run, so then we don't have to find the folder. So in here, we're going to want to add a new folder, which is going to be just builds. And then in here, we're going to want another folder, which will be for our first build. So we'll just call it build 1. And then in here, we'll actually put our build, which I'm just going to call 1. So if we hit save, it's going to start compiling and creating our build. This can take a little while, probably won't take that long, but I might speed it up through the process. Okay, so the build's done, and it's launched on this screen. And as you can see, it's not full screen. Oops, I shook around heaps, and it did that thing where all your windows disappear. So I'll just open them up again. Back to our build. So if we press play, our game works. If we die and we hit quit, the game quits. As you can see, we have space for our next button, for the button to hit when we die, but we also have space as a jump button, and the only input in the game is jump. So that's probably not the best idea, seeing people are going to be pushing space, and when the game ends, you don't want them to be pushing space straight away, because that's the button which then takes you to the main menu. So it's probably a good idea to change that button, but ultimately we're probably going to put this on phone, so we'll do some touchscreen scripting, and then that won't be as much of a problem, because we'll make it so you only can touch in a certain part of the screen to actually load the next level. But that's for another video. So cool. Now that we have all of this going, I think that might be it for this video. But next time we'll be doing all of the high score stuff. So we'll be calculating our high score, saving our high score, and then loading it into our menu. And also saving it so if you quit the game and launch the game again, your high score will still be there. We might cover a few other things, but that will be the main part of the next episode. So hope you enjoyed. If you did, please like, comment, subscribe. It helps a lot. It's good to know that so many people have been wanting to watch these videos. I've had more interest in them in the last few days than I have at all, and that's been really cool. So yeah, cheers everyone for watching, and hope you have a good day.